If you've clicked on this video, you probably already know who he is, but Andrew Huberman is a professor of neurobiology and ophthalmology at Stanford School of Medicine. After appearing on a multitude of podcasts before 2021, he decided to start a new role as science communicator through his own podcast. The now famous Huberman Lab podcast is the home of where he discusses topics related to neuroscience, biology, and health. In one of his most famous episodes, speak of the protocols and tools to help optimize physical health. He mentions the foundational fitness protocol.
Today, I'm going to describe a specific protocol that serves as a general template that anyone, in fact, everyone can use in order to maximize all aspects of fitness.
Almost everyone wants to live a long time, but in our current Western society are finding it more and more difficult to age with vitality as we become more sedentary in our everyday lives. Andrew's protocol provides us with an easy to follow, structured week that just about anyone can implement into their lives. And that's exactly what I did. I implemented these protocols into my life, and these are the results.
So the protocol, it starts on a Sunday, which is a little bit unorthodox, but something I actually got quite accustomed to. And it starts with a bout of long endurance training. So anything from over 35 minutes, ideally trying to reach 60 to 75-minute mark. Methods of cardio can include anything from rowing, cycling, slow jogging, swimming, hiking, plus you can use a weighted vest or a heavy backpack to help increase the difficulty over normal walking, because normal walking doesn't really hit the threshold. It has to be a little bit more high intensity to reach zone 2. Zone 2 should mean you're able to speak normally with a person, like I'm just kind of speaking to you, while also being able to continually nasal breathe the entire time. All right, so day number 2 brings us to a leg resistance training day. It consists of a 10-minute warm-up and 50 to 60 minutes of resistance training. Legs are the largest muscle group in the body, so training them early on in the week sets off a multitude of metabolic processes that elevate metabolism, as well as helping amplify hormonal events throughout the body. And then also being like the most difficult training session of the week, and just getting it done early is great. Anyone who's done leg day before knows how difficult the walk home is. The foundational fitness protocol consists of having like a month A, month B, and just alternate between strength and hypertrophy. Strength relates to the mechanics, the force capability of muscle, and firing the right muscle group in the right sequence. Intensity is the primary driver in training for strength, as well as speed and power. And you also want to use mostly compound movements when training for strength. Hypertrophy, on the other hand, optimizes just for muscle size without consideration for function or strength. It doesn't matter as long as the muscle's getting bigger. Volume is the primary driver in hypertrophy. The target is 10 working sets per muscle group per week, or up to 25 if you're highly trained.
Here's a little graph here showing the differences between strength and hypertrophy. For strength, weight will be 70% of 1 rep max, reps 3 to 5, sets 3 to 5, rest 3 to 5 minutes, and exercise 3 to 5 in the session. Hypertrophy, on the other hand, 60 to 80% of 1 rep max, where you're going from 8 to 15 repetitions, but you can also go up to 30, but that's the most generally accepted range. 10 sets per week per muscle group, up to 25, less rest at about 2 minutes, and then you want to be doing 5+ exercises in the session.
Now, what exercise you actually use on the leg day, I guess depends on what you guys have access to. Maybe you have access to a commercial gym. Me, I'm lucky enough to have access to an apartment gym, and some of you guys, like I have previously in my life, have access to no gym. The most important thing is that no matter what circumstance you're in, there's always a workout to be had. So now here is a list of some example exercises for each lower body muscle group. All exercises can be regressed depending on your level of experience in the gym, and feel free to take a screenshot if you want. Following that, I've got 2 workout examples, one strength-based and one hypertrophy-based, for you guys to also have a look at if you're interested in copying and seeing what I did. So Tuesday brings us deliberate heat and deliberate cold exposure. So the Hubes provides us with 3 different deliberate heat exposure protocols. To use the sauna for cardiovascular benefits, you're going to heat the sauna to 80 to 100 degrees Celsius and get in there from anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes, 2 to 3 times per week. For a multitude of general health benefits, you can use it for a total of 1 hour per week, split into 2 to 3 sessions across the week, again at the 80 to 100 degrees Celsius mark. Then the final protocol, which is actually used in the foundational fitness protocol that I'm following, is to promote growth hormone release in the body. For that, you'll have to do 4 sessions of 30 minutes with little cool down periods in between. As always, remember to hydrate well before you get in the sauna. The recommendation is like 470 mils or 16 ounces of water every 10 minutes you're in the sauna. And for the men, I would definitely recommend using an ice pack in between the legs.
if you want to keep your reproductive health.
So onto the deliberate cold exposure. It can produce many benefits, including enhancing focus, increasing energy, converting white fat cells to brown fat cells, which helps with metabolism. It's very cold.
Building resilience.
And apparently building resilience. So the ideal temperature for cold exposure is one that feels super cold and you want to get out, but you've got enough resilience to push through it and stay in there. It can be anywhere from 1 minute to 10 minutes, depending on the temperature. The actual protocol for ongoing use is 2 to 4 sessions lasting 1 to 5 minutes each, totaling 11 minutes per week. In the foundational fitness protocol, it combines these two methods of 20 minutes sauna with 5 minutes ice bath.
So we're back in the gym on Wednesday and we're going to be doing some resistance training for the torso and the neck. For the torso, you're mainly just doing the push and pull movements. It kind of indirectly trains arms, so it gets a few extra sets for them, as well as mainly going for the chest, shoulders and back. I'm semi-experienced with doing push and pull workouts. I used to do those on alternate days, but today we're doing it all together. But the thing I'm not used to, which I've only done since following the big man Andy, is start incorporating neck training into the training days. Training your neck can help improve posture, reduce the risk of everyday injury, and potentially alleviate neck pain and headaches. Additionally, a stronger neck can enhance your performance in sports that involve head collisions or heading of the ball. For me, in football, head collisions aren't super common, but there is a lot of heading of the ball, which I can definitely see strengthening the neck, serving it to protect the head when heading a football, as well as maybe giving you a bit of extra bonus power to score a goal. Now, here's a list of potential exercises and an example of my training week for both strength and hypertrophy of the torso and neck. So Thursday is cardiovascular training day and it is super straightforward. It's just around 35 minutes of moderate to high intensity cardiovascular training. So you want to be hitting 75 to 80% of your maximal effort, as well as hitting the 75 to 80% of your max heart rate for a majority of the 35 minutes. The different methods of cardio can be anything from running, cycling, rowing, jumping jacks, stair climb, anything you can really think of that can get your heart rate high enough for that long period of time. That's pretty much all the protocol for Thursday training. Now, Friday's protocol is pretty much for high intensity interval training. The protocol consists of 20 to 30 seconds of all out sprint, followed by 10 seconds of rest. And we do that for about 8 to 10 rounds. Heart rate should be hitting at least your max for a certain amount of time. The other options include the assault bike, sprint intervals, rowing intervals, skiing machine, and sand sprints. And that brings us to Saturday, which is our final day of the week and our final bout of resistance training, which consists of training arms as well as neck and calves. I feel like Saturday is the most easily customizable day in the entire program. It provides you with a day to kind of focus on muscles that you think need more attention for your own personal strength and hypertrophy requirements. So for me, that might be my tiny little biceps that I wish looked like cannons. And for other people, that might be calves. Nevertheless, I've added the exercises here for you guys to have a look at and to make your own kind of program, as well as the strength and hypertrophy examples here for day 7's protocol. All right, now straight into results. First, we're going to do resistance training results because I think that's what everyone wants to see the most. On screen now is my weight improvements on most of the exercises I completed over the 6 months. Each time I would do my program reps and sets without getting too close to failure. I would complete an extra set than usual, then move up the weight the next session. That's what I did to kind of make sure I was continually progressively overloading and getting stronger. I didn't keep to the 3-day-a-week resistance training the entire 6 months. About halfway through, I felt like my body was ready to kind of offer a lot more volume or more training sessions. For me, for example, my biceps, they tend to get tired pretty quickly during training. So I struggled to get a large amount of sets. If I was trying to do 12 sets in a single session, it's quite difficult, but then I recover super quickly from it. So I could be ready to go again in 2 days. So instead of waiting 5 to 7 days of rest and then hitting them again, I'd much rather hit them 3 times a week and do 6 sets each session. And then I'm doing a total of 18 sets for the entire week. That's something you guys will have to kind of figure out with your own bodies, how you feel, and depending on what goals you're trying to achieve. When I started increasing this volume, I really had to start focusing on recovery more. This is where Andy Galpin's recovery advice of using a massage gun really came into things. This is the Bob and Brad D6 Pro massage gun. I used it before every workout to warm up, and then also to relax them and keep increasing blood flow after the workout. Also before going to bed. This is the only gun that actually gets into my hamstrings and massages them properly, as usually they're not that powerful. I've got a link down below that you guys can check out, and if you use that link down below and tell them you came from me, you get a 2-year warranty included with your purchase. Now, this is what I looked like at the beginning of the 6 months, and this is what I look like after. You guys can make your own mind up on the results. I wasn't eating for a massive size increase. I was more just kind of seeing how much stronger I could get at exercises while maintaining a similar type of weight. Also, I do have to let you know that I was taking Andrew Huberman's kind of pre-workout concoction, which consists of 300 milligrams of alpha GPC, which is known to help with muscular contraction and power output, 500 milligrams of L-tyrosine, which is an amino acid to improve energy, motivation, and mood. Also, I was taking 5 grams of creatine every single day, which is Andrew's and our Andy Galpin's #1 recommended supplement for just about everyone.
And you're going to see thousands of studies of the potential benefits of creatine. So that is always #1 on my list.
I'm relieved to hear that creatine sits at the top of your supplementation list. I started taking it when I was in college.
Links can be found down below to Nootropics Depot, which third-party tests all their supplements, and that's what I used over the 6 months. I have to give a special shout out to their creatine because it's the first ever creatine that I've seen actually dissolve properly in water. Usually it just kind of sits there and sinks to the bottom, and then you're crunching on creatine, as I'm sure a few of you guys know. Next, I have my heat and cold exposure results. So I'm lucky enough, I managed to purchase myself a chest freezer, saved up for a while, and bought it, made it into an ice bath so I could take them semi-regularly. My first ice bath was for 5 minutes and at 8 degrees Celsius. Then my ice baths now, 6 months later, I find that I can go to the 2-degree mark and stay in for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, I get quite a lot of pain in kind of like the tendons in my feet, which is really weird. I think I still need to slowly build up the kind of cold resistance into my feet. I don't really know how much body adaptation I've had from the cold exposure, but I feel like it's much more mental improvement rather than physical body adaptation, I guess, of being able to not feel as cold. I feel like 8 degrees still feels as cold to me now, but I feel like up here, I know I can do it. So therefore I will get in and do it. My girlfriend, she also was getting into the ice baths. She started like nearly hyperventilating the first time she got in, had little control over her breathing, but now she stays in at like 5 degrees for 20 minutes and she just enjoys the moment, having control of her body and mind. Then for heat exposure, all the places to have a sauna around me are super expensive. So I purchased this sauna online on Amazon, which was like $100. I honestly find this sauna to be almost hotter than a real sauna, but with the added bonus that I can stay in a little longer as my head is out of the top and I find the breathing is much easier. Whether that means I don't get as many of the heat adaptations, it's probably right. But as you know, you got to make do with what you have sometimes. There's no complaints for me because my heart rate was still hitting over 160 just sitting in the sauna, getting hot and sweating like crazy. It's almost like it was an extra cardio session as well as recovery. I started at the beginning hitting 20 minutes in the sauna, and by the end of the 6 months, I was doing 30 minutes in there. Not a crazy improvement. Again, I still think it was more mental than my physical body getting used to it, but it's one of those things I just can't be for sure about. For high intensity interval training results, I was playing indoor soccer once a week, and that was kind of my make do high intensity interval training for most of the 6 months. My heart rate would stay above 180 beats per minute in that zone 5 threshold for at least 10 minutes throughout the entire match. So I think I was definitely hitting the right kind of anaerobic maximum capacity, which is what we're going for with high intensity interval training. It even managed to hit like 204 on a few occasions, which I guess is my theoretical max. I must have really been gasping. On other weeks I didn't have soccer, I'd do sprints in the street, or you could do rowing, assault bike, or just a normal bike. At the beginning I was kind of doing 45 seconds recovery, kind of rest, and then 15 seconds really hard, and that was for only 8 rounds. And then by the end of the 6 months, much more hitting that 12 round mark, as well as doing 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Now, on to cardiovascular training. In the protocol, it's recommended to do 35 minutes of moderate to high intensity cardio. I tend to get a lot of calf trouble at the 25-minute mark, so I kind of changed a little bit. So for me, my results of the cardiovascular training is pretty much just how many kilometers I can run in 25 minutes. At the beginning, I was running 4 kilometers in 25 minutes, 52 seconds, with an average pace of 6 minutes 25 per kilometer. And then if we fast forward here 6 months later, I'm I'm running 5 kilometers in 24 minutes and 42 seconds, which is an average pace of 4 minutes and 54 seconds per kilometer, which is an improvement that I'm really impressed with and I didn't actually expect. Like, this isn't a how much quicker can I run and how much further can I run training program. So to get those results when only just training once a week for it, I think is pretty amazing. So now we reach the final overview and review of the entire protocol. The protocol can pretty much be summed up with one word, and that is foundational. It's in its title. That's what it is. It's a foundational fitness protocol. That's what it aims to be, and that's exactly what it is. It's like the foundation for building your own protocol. That involves implementing all 5 training modalities that are all backed by peer-reviewed research illustrating their benefits for mental health, longevity, fitness overall. And that's made up by long endurance workout training, cardiovascular training, high intensity interval training, resistance training, and heat and cold exposure. My goals of hypertrophy and strength will definitely be different to my mother's longevity goals. But either way, both of us should still try and implement all 5 of those training modalities throughout the week. I know for a fact that if every single human in the world did 2 out of 5 of these, we'd probably see a lot of improvements in average person's health, but not just their health, as all aspects of their life. So if you're not getting enough exercise as of now, start with the 200 minutes of zone 2 cardio throughout the week. Then maybe have a sauna a few times a week. Then maybe add in the resistance training into the schedule. Then 1 resistance training session a week, then to 2, then to 3. You start hitting 3 resistance training sessions a week. Then you're ready to implement some more long endurance cardio and other cardiovascular training like high intensity interval training. And then maybe you're looking for that next thing, and then you can go into the cold exposure, try get those benefits. All don't need to be done. Optimal is what you can handle. Slowly build up to it, and make sure if any of you guys are going to bring these training modalities into your life and you're going to follow this, you need to find your reason why. The reason why you're going to go out and do these things, and why you want to extend life and live longer healthily. For me in this video, so many times I haven't had a why and I fall off and I stop following the program or something like that. But this time I had my why. It was to make this video for you guys, to give you the honest truth and a review of the protocol as a whole. There were times I was out running in the rain on a Sunday. All I wanted to do is lay in bed, but instead I'm doing my long endurance workout, pouring of rain. And by the end of it, I was so proud that I'd done it, because I know for a fact if I didn't have that why, I wouldn't have been out there doing it. Thank you all so much for watching. Check out my other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys very soon in another video. Thanks for watching.